Green light?
Get this going, yeah.
Great. So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to our live stream. Apologies for our technical difficulties. Our stream had a little bit of latency in it, so we needed to switch over to this one. So thank you for being understanding there. I am here tonight. I am Matt Grigas, the Director of Admissions, with Mrs. Basiniak behind the camera, helping facilitate this live stream. But I am accompanied by Nurse Schaefer, who is obviously going to be your student's nurse for their experience here at Benet Academy, our athletic director, Scott Lawler, as well as his administrative assistant, Mary Ellen Whalen. So we are here tonight. The purpose of tonight is to help answer questions about athletics and walk you through the process, particularly as it pertains to fall sports, so that all the questions you might have as we are slowly but surely approaching the summer months, you know what you need to do to be able to get your son or daughter involved in athletics here at Benet Academy. So before we jump into that, Mr. Lawler, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the athletics program.
Well, one thing is, all of you guys know, as you guys went on tours and came to the school, you get to hear the great things about our athletic program. I've been involved with athletics at Benet for the last 11 years, assistant athletic director for 10, and this is my first year as the athletic director. And one of the amazing things, we have 23 varsity sports that we have at our school, and we've won many championships. We're in the East Suburban Catholic Conference. We have the most conference championships of any other school in our conference, which is a great thing. But I think, like Matt, what you just said, for all of you guys out there, it's being a part of that family field, that championship teams. But it's that freshman year, the many questions: how do I get involved? How do I make the team? What do I need to do? I think those are some great things to get out on the table, because I know that varsity, it will come quick, but it's 3 or 4 years away, maybe sooner for some. But it's trying to transition from middle school to the high school age. So we have two ladies here that are going to answer a lot of great questions too, because a lot of times it starts with them before they get to me. So so why don't we get going? But it is a thanks for having us tonight, Matt.
Great.
And Kelsey.
Thank you for being here. Okay, so let's start with the basic details of, I'm a parent. I want to get my son or daughter involved in athletics. It's rapidly approaching the fall. What do I need to do to be able to try out or sign up for a sport?
Like we said, we're going to primarily focus on fall sports. And fall sports are unique in that we ask everybody to have a clearance ticket. To get a clearance ticket, you need to do basically 3 things. You need to register online. That's at a website called benet.8to18.com. You need to provide a physical form for athletics. It has to be dated after July 10th of 2021. And then you have to come to Benet Academy, sorry to say, and pick up what we call our clearance ticket. And the clearance ticket serves as a visual for our coaches, so that they're not going through a list. They just collect these things. These kids are good. They know they're good to go. And they can just get right started into tryouts or practices.
Okay, so a clearance ticket, if I am trying out for a sport in the fall, I need to get a clearance ticket. Mm-hmm. And the way to do that is I'm creating an account on 8 to 18. Mm-hmm. If I am already a parent at Benet Academy, do I need to make an account at 8 to 18?
No. So if you already have a child here who's registered on 8 to 18, okay, you have what we call, it's a family account. So you just log in, you go to benet.8to18.com. That's super important. And then you log in with your current email address and password. And then you click on begin registration. It's a big green button.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of people miss it. But it's a big green button. And then you begin the registration process. One thing that people kind of panic over is the next screen you see just lists the sport. It doesn't list any athlete's name. And so people get confused because on the previous page, they saw their current students' names. So go ahead and click on the sport that you want your child to play or try out for.
So if I'm interested, I hate to interrupt here, but if I'm interested in my son or daughter playing multiple sports, am I selecting multiple sports on that page?
You have to register them for each sport separately. Okay. So you can go through the process for one sport, hit submit, and then just go right back, and then it'll say register for another sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll complete that, and I've done the registration part of it, but then the actual physical that my son or daughter has needs to be dated after July 10th, you said?
Of 2021.
Of 2021.
Physical forms are good for 13 months for athletics.
Okay.
That's different for the nurse.
Okay.
Or yes, for health, for ninth grade, it's only acceptable to be current is 12 months.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is if my son or daughter has had a physical after July 10th of 2021, they're good to get a ticket to try out. But that clearance ticket, in order to do that, I need to physically bring my physical form for my student to Benet Academy to you.
You do.
Okay, so you make the exploration, or you make the trek to Benet Academy, which parents, we will share some details with you about this later. But if your son or daughter is signing up to take college prep tech, more details on that coming later in the week. You can actually drop off that form at the same time as you're dropping your son or daughter off for that first day of class. So that would be a way to save a trip.
Correct.
That would be one way to do it. And I need to make sure I've got that form turned into you. So where do I find you to give you that ticket if I'm coming in over the summer?
Besides the
clearance ticket. I'm saying, how do I
the
locate
day
you?
of the first day of the college prep tech? I don't know what it's called.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Did you want me to be down there?
Yeah, you said you were going to be there for that, but I'm saying if I'm
The
coming
rest of
in
the time.
any other time, where is
So
your office located?
the athletic office it's actually door 9, which is on the west side of campus by the big, huge parking lot. So if you've been to any of our basketball games or volleyball games, or been to a camp, it's that gym door.
Okay.
When you go in, you go to the left and you'll see a sign then. There'll be double doors ahead of you. You'll see a sign above it. It says athletic office. When you get to the T, you go right and then right again.
And we will also provide a map for everybody
And
so
if
they
you-
know where they're going.
All I say,
Yeah.
if you get to the small gym, you've passed us.
Okay. All right. So I get my tryout ticket or my clearance ticket for my son or daughter, and they have to then bring that to tryouts in order to be eligible to try out.
Correct. The first day of tryouts or practice for fall sports is Monday, August 8th.
So-
and yes, everybody has to be there for.
And let me talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
August 8th. One thing is, and I think that was one of the biggest things that we wanted to get out was that date is we know that a lot of people want to get family vacations in. One thing is that we really need you guys to be there the 8th because for especially sports that have tryouts or even sports that don't have tryouts, that is you only have a certain amount of days before the first competition. So that is where the coaches start to line up who's going to play, what positions. And also for the cut sports, we do require the coaches to give 3 days to evaluate kids. So that helps with our coaches to be able to evaluate who's on the team and who's not. It gets kind of tough when somebody's on vacation and we have kids that have already been cut, but if somebody's on vacation and then we have to assess that kid after the fact. It's kind of a tough situation for the coach and the kids at the same time. So.
Do you want to mention football acclimation, especially?
Yeah, and we can talk a little bit more about this, and we can have Coach New, especially in football, is you want to be there the first day because you go helmets and shoulder pads and full pads. You have to have a certain amount of days to be in full pads to actually play in the first game. So and football is one of our non-cut sports. So it's pretty important for our coaches and our kids to be there on the 8th of August.
Okay, so
But we want people to go on vacation too.
right, understood.
Yeah.
Summer is summer.
Yes.
If I come with that clearance ticket, obviously that is the important ticket to be able to try out. When is the last day that I could register to get a clearance ticket to try out?
The last registration closes on August 1st.
Okay, so I've got basically a week until.
Right. And then you have the whole week of the 2nd through the 5th of August to come to Benet and go
Okay.
ahead and pick up the ticket.
Okay.
I will be there bright and early on August 8th, the morning of August 8th, as early as 6 a.m. if
Okay.
need be. And I have been.
Yep.
But that registration window closes August 1.
August 1st. So it
Okay.
opens May 1st and it closes August 1st.
Okay, so it's not even necessarily open yet to register to get that yet.
No.
Okay.
Can I comment?
Yeah.
If you try to register right now, you will be registering for the current school year. And those registrations will just disappear.
Okay.
So you'll have to re-register anyhow.
Got it. Okay, so I think we've got the clearance ticket aspect of it down to be able to try out for a sport. So I've got my physical. I've registered on 8 to 18, but I also need a physical for the school, regardless of whether I'm trying out for a sport. Correct, Nurse Schaefer?
Correct. Every ninth grader who's coming into Benet Academy needs a physical completed on the State of Illinois Certificate of Child Health form. It needs to include all their immunizations. It needs to be signed by a doctor, nurse practitioner, or a physician's assistant. And it also needs to be signed by the parents on page 2, which is the health history section, which the parents complete.
Okay. And this is all part of that digital admissions packet that we've sent home multiple times, but we will also mail again following this meeting so that people can follow those links to 8 to 18 so they know where to go, the forms for the physical in case they need to print one out themselves.
And Matt, the physical form that I require as the school nurse, which has all the immunizations, you do not need to have a different Illinois High School Association physical form completed by the physician or the nurse practitioner. What you can do as a parent is just make 2 copies. Keep
Okay.
a copy at home for your records. Send a copy to the nurse, and then send a copy to fall sports.
So there's not a different physical form for the school. It's just a copy of the same one I'd be providing for tryouts.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Quick question.
And also, if you do have, if you only make 1 copy, I will be keeping that copy. So I will not know if your child is trying out for sports unless you make a copy and says sports physical on it.
Got it. So a question that I think I've heard a couple of times, I know it was one of the questions that was submitted before we started tonight. Does my son or daughter need to be vaccinated for COVID-19 in order to be able to be eligible to play sports?
At this time, COVID-19 is not a required vaccination.
That does not impact my IHSA eligibility to play.
It does not require, no.
Okay, great. Okay, so I've got my clearance ticket. I've submitted my form to you, Nurse Schaefer. But what if my son or daughter is asthmatic or diabetic or other things like that, or food allergies that I want the school to be made aware of? How do I do that?
Well, every child who has any of those conditions, if they are going to be carrying emergency medicine, I need a medical authorization form, which is available on the website.
Okay.
And that is completed by the doctor and signed by the parent. They also need an action plan. So an asthma action plan, a diabetes action plan, seizure action plan, or a food allergy action plan. And those are also completed by the parent and the doctor.
Okay.
Those are provided.
And we also have links to those on our website under the nurse's office.
And then the families can bring those emergency medications on Forms Day.
Okay. So mid-August is when they could bring that in, that
Correct.
medication in. Okay, great. So let me throw this one to you, Mr. Lawler. Sports.
Mhm.
We have cut sports, we have non-cut sports.
Yeah.
What are some of the non-cut sports that my student could be involved in at Benet Academy, particularly as it pertains to the fall?
In the fall, you have football and you have cross country
Okay.
and boys swimming.
Okay.
And those are the 3 that you can get involved with. Still, we'd like you to be there on time because it does help the coach look and evaluate so they can put people at the proper position. So
Sure.
just because it's not cut, it is still very competitive to be a part of those sports teams.
Understood.
And especially like boys cross country, we have the most conference championships in the conference history so we do a great job, even though we don't cut, of making sure that we foster a great program too. And it's a great atmosphere.
Okay. Mrs. Pasiniak,
Yes.
questions that we've got from families that we also would like to field.
Yes.
Sure.
Is it possible for a child to do both girls volleyball and cross country?
The answer is no. The reason is that when you have 2 sports that are part of the same season, that's pretty tough to do. So we just have kids do 1 sport per season. So we have kids that play, 2 or 3 sports, but the fall season, the winter season, and the spring season.
Okay.
Coach, which summer camps, I think this one's going to you too, Coach.
Okay.
Which summer camps are recommended? For example, there are 3 for baseball.
Mhm.
Also, if 2 summer camps conflict with times, should we just pick one?
Yeah, you should just pick one. Here's the beauty of summer camps. One thing, I know it's kind of a myth out there. You don't have to go to a summer camp. It's not a tryout. Okay. Summer camp is so you get to know the coaches and especially get to know maybe some of your future teammates. So I think it's a great thing that if you can only go to one, if you can go to all of them, there's no requirement by any of the coaches, but it's just a way for you as a kid and the parent to get to know a little bit of the program, the coaches. But I think more important, I think it's great for them to meet people that either like basketball or cross country or baseball, so they can meet their future classmates in the summer and in a fun environment. So
Awesome. Can parents bring the kids home from away games, or do the players need to take the team bus to and from games? I don't know who's answering
You
this.
can answer that.
Yes, athletes or parents can take their athletes home from away games, so long as they inform the coach that's what's going on. And most coaches are really good about instructing players and parents how to do that.
Do you have intramural sports for boys and girls? Do we have intramurals?
We don't have intramurals. We have clubs. I know some people will do some things like after school in different clubs that are active, but we do not have intramurals at this point right now.
I would say I'm going to make a push to. There's hockey, which is a club. It's not intramurals. I mean, it's a real team, a real sport. And then there's also bowling.
Yeah, there is.
Which is like, I mean,
There
it's like
is.
you guys laugh, but it's like
That's
it's
that's
fun.
every
It's
week.
really,
That's a really great
it's,
one.
Yeah, it's on Fridays after school. And of course we have bass fishing.
I'm going to put a plug in for bowling. That is not, because I've gone many a time with Mr. Wash, who is our sponsor. You hear about it and you think that it's not like people being competitive with like gloves and like showing up with their own ball. It's really more of a social aspect at Lyle Lanes, and that's after school, and that's an opportunity, and it's multi-leveled in terms of there are freshmen, there are sophomores, there are juniors, and there are seniors that are doing it, and it's really just students enjoying each other's company while bowling, but it's really a way to socialize and meet people.
It's really fun.
Yeah, that's a really fun one.
Now, what happens when a sports camp interferes with college tech prep? Will they offer more college tech prep classes?
Okay, so to peek a little behind the curtain, what will happen is we will release the week after we come back from spring break, because we wanted to give families time to look at tryout schedules and look at camp schedules and plan your summer vacations before you sign up for a college prep tech time. College prep tech is a class. It is a 9-day class. It's 3 hours each day for 9 days. It's a Monday through Friday and then a Monday through Thursday. And the dates we've shared with you previously. But in terms of being able to sign up for sections, what we will do is we will release our sections and you will sign up using Sign Up Genius and you'll pick a time slot for your child. As classes fill up, we will release more classes in that time slot. So that if there is a strong need for multiple classes to run at, say, 7 to 10 a.m., we will offer multiple classes from 7 to 10 a.m. We are limited by the number of instructors that we have for College Prep Tech. There are 4. So at any one given time, we're running somewhere between 2 to 3 sections of the class. So the long and the short of it would be, if you're going to do a sports camp, we would ask that you obviously make that commitment to that camp and then choose a different time that doesn't have a conflict with College Prep Tech. It's very common that we have students that might do, say, a baseball camp in the morning, have an hour and a half break, eat some lunch, and then come to College Prep Tech, or the exact opposite. They'll show up for class, they'll do the class for 3 hours, take a break, and then they'll go to their camp. That's a very common thing for students at Benet Academy over the summer to be socializing during those breaks. There are adults in the building during those times, and so your son or daughter will have a break in between. It's also important to stress, and again, we'll talk about this later, but College Prep Tech is not a 3-hour, your son or daughter is sitting in a desk. There are multiple breaks throughout the 3 hours. They're doing team building activities. They're doing all sorts of fun games. We have them outside and inside. There is time for snacks and water and breaks. So if you're concerned about, is that going to be too much for your son or daughter? We have had many students who have appreciated that all being at the same time. So there is also a benefit to, as a parent, or carpooling and dropping your son or daughter off. They're there for the day and then picking them up at the end of the day.
Thank you. Will there be access for spring sport athletes in the weight room in the summer/fall? So again, will there be access for spring sport athletes in the weight room in the summertime/fall?
It all depends on the head coach.
Okay.
A lot of times, a lot of times freshmen, it depends on the sport, will be in the weight room, sometimes not, because we don't know if they're going to make the team or not yet. So a lot of times the spring sport teams that are in the weight room are usually when the head coach requests time to be in there.
Thanks. Is Benet considering adding any sports, such as diving?
We've had divers.
We have had divers.
Yeah, we have.
We actually have had gymnasts. One.
Yeah.
But we had them. But I would,
If we have a diver, yes, we talk to our swim coach about it,
Mhm.
and then we have to find a diving coach to help out with our swim coach. So
Nice.
yes, we've had that in the past. In the last 4 or 5 years, we have.
yeah, I would say situate like positions like that or sports like that, that would be a phone call to Scott, like to Coach
Yep.
Lawler.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Please clarify the registration website. Is it just 8 to 18? Please spell out the full website.
Sure. It's BENET dot the number 8, the letters TO, the number 18.com.
Perfect. Okay, season tickets. What are they good for and how much do they cost? Also, how long are these tickets valid for?
Okay, season tickets. The season ticket pass is good for all of our sports that charge an admission. So that would be football, boys and girls basketball, and boys and girls volleyball. So they're good for the entire school year. Last year they were $30, and I would expect them to be the same this year.
The only thing that you cannot, there might be a specialized tournament at our place. They're not good for that, and they're also not for the IHSA playoffs. So it's all home events that we are putting on.
Awesome.
I'm gonna throw one out there real quick to Nurse Schaefer. Physicals, you need a copy.
Yes.
We also need one in athletics if you're going to be trying out for any sports. What about dental exam, eye exam? How about those?
Yes, a dental exam is required for all incoming freshmen. And the eye exam is only required for those students who have never attended an Illinois school. So if your child was homeschooled, if your child is coming from out of state or out of country, and they've never been at an Illinois school, they need an eye exam. And every student needs a dental exam.
Okay,
And those can all be brought together at one time.
and brought to you.
Yes.
Great, perfect.
Where do we buy the season tickets?
So athletic office, and then also you can purchase them at home football games. We usually do it the first home football game. So it's easy to access. We usually done it the first 2. So, and this year I think we have 4 straight home football games. No, yeah. So
The other time that this is the other day that we have sold them in the past has been on check-in day.
on check-in day.
The past few years due to COVID, that all kind of changed. But we could certainly go back to selling them on check-in day.
Is August 1st also the deadline for spring sports?
No. So on May 1st, all sports registration will open up. So that's for the fall, the winter, and the spring. On August 1st, we will shut everything down. Fall will reopen that like Sunday night for those latecomers, really latecomers. But it's just, the reason we do that is just so that we don't spend that last weekend. You know, you're scrambling, I'm scrambling. It's just not, it's just not nice. Then we reopen. Winter will be the next group of sports that we reopen. And that'll be like sometime mid-September, after Labor Day for sure. We launch, get fall sports launched, and then I'll reopen winter sports. And then track, because there's an indoor season of track, and track starts in January, even though it's a spring sport. It starts before all the other ones. We'll reopen that probably around November 1st. And then the spring sports will open like right around January 1st.
Thank you very much. Can you drop off your physical form, get the ticket the same day, And in order to get the ticket, is it correct that you need to just bring the physical form?
Yes, yes. You can bring, the best thing to do is to bring everything with you, to bring your physical form with you. I also would like to see some proof of that you've registered. So you will get a confirmation email. It's an automated email from, it's a silly thing that says no reply at 8to18.com. So it doesn't come from Benet. People are always looking for this confirmation email from Benet. There is no confirmation email from Benet. You can print that out. You can take a screenshot on your phone. Doesn't matter to me. But if you could just show proof that you did register. Some people will show up with a physical form, but they're not registered, and but I did it, but you didn't because it's not showing up in our database. So if you have that piece of paper and that proof or the screenshot, we can get things cleared up.
When is girls' swim season?
I was gonna clarify that. So the girls' swim season is in the fall. Boys' swim season is the non-cut sport for winter.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's in this. That was my fault on that.
So girls are in the fall. Girls this year
Is a
cut sport.
Yes, but boys is not.
Is the summer sports camp schedule updated for 2022?
You can check there's a lot up there right now. Not every single sport has submitted their information to the camp website yet. But we're almost there. I would say we're about 90% there.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason that we wanted to obviously get those up when we did is so that you could plan for college prep tech as well. I want to also reiterate, college prep tech is a 9-day course for credit. So you do receive a grade that does count towards your Benet GPA. Many of our students find success in it. It's not only a class, it's an opportunity for students to build relationships, make connections with students, explore the building, and really it's kind of like a freshman 101 so that on day one of Benet Academy, the halls aren't new, the people and faces aren't new, the culture and experiences aren't new, the technology isn't new, that the first day of school doesn't feel like a first day. It feels more like you're coming home. So
could I go back to
Of course you can.
if there's not a camp listed that you're interested in, please feel free to call us.
And emails.
Yeah, we can ask the coach when the
What the
dates
plans are.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can get that to you.
there are also camps that are up there that are not sports camps as well.
Mhm.
There are camps like there's a robotics camp,
Mm-hmm.
dance intensive camp, there's a theater camp, there's strength and conditioning, so it's not directly a sport. So there's a lot of different things in there that your student could be involved in.
We have 2 more questions so far.
Okay.
Do the kids need a ticket for dance and cheer tryouts, which are happening in the next few weeks?
Good question. No, they do not.
That's a really good question.
That's a really good question, but you do need to register
Mhm.
and you do need to send in a physical form. You can just send that in
Okay.
Fabulous.
or hand deliver it, but whichever you prefer.
Thanks. When are freshman girls volleyball tryouts?
That's a fall sport, so that would be August 8th.
Yep, August 8th.
So all those fall sports, they all start their tryouts on August 8th.
Yep.
So it's not like there's a different one for different fall sports. They all commence on August 8th.
The only
That's
thing that usually, and it's not exactly, but like that first week or two is usually practice. The only sport that will get going a little bit more is golf. That you might see them tee off and play like right away.
Okay.
So because a lot of their competition is score based and not so much on the conditioning and learning some of the plays.
Got
So you might see some matches there a little sooner than any other sport playing.
Where does the swim team practice?
The swim team practices at this beautiful facility in Westmont,
Westmont.
the FMC Natatorium.
Mhm. The host of the IHSA state
Yeah.
championships.
Oh.
It's a
For boys and
it's
girls,
a beautiful,
it is.
beautiful facility.
Absolutely. And Mary Ellen, I got to see both because both we had swimmers from the boys and girls qualify for state this year. So it was kind of fun to see our
That's
whole
Facility.
facility
Yeah.
in use.
Is there an end ETA time on that the cross country team will be meeting during the summer months?
That's a question we probably need to ask the coach.
The coaches, okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
And that's, I just want to, I just hate to
Yeah.
interrupt here.
Yeah.
All of the coaches' information can also be found
Yes.
on
Yeah.
8 to 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of being able to reach out directly to a coach for that
Yep.
particular sport, that would be the easiest way to get in contact with each of them.
Coach Helder, will you run through one more time what the no-cut sports are, please?
Okay, we have them like right here.
So,
Nice.
so do you
Yeah.
want like
We'll go
boys,
through the whole
boys,
entire year.
boys and girls?
Yes, please.
So, okay, in the fall, we have boys and girls cross country is non-cut. Football is non-cut. In the winter, it's boys swimming is non-cut. Actually, I should say girls tennis in the fall. He keeps a lot.
A lot of people too.
A lot. And then boys swimming in the winter, and then in the spring, boys tennis is non-cut, boys and girls track is non-cut, and boys and girls lacrosse
Yeah.
are both non-cut
And
right now.
Right now it is. And one thing is I know what we've had a lot of parents before, my son or daughter has never played this sport. And I think some of our coaches at the freshman level, a lot of times they want to get people involved. They want to teach their sport, especially like lacrosse, where, it's a growing sport. It hasn't, it's been more East Coast. It's been out here for years now. But I think some of our coaches really want to teach kids, even if they haven't played.
Mayor Schaefer, one for you.
Oh.
Is the sports physical the same as the standard Illinois health form for schools?
For freshmen, it can be used. The state of Illinois form that is required for 9th grade can be used as the sports physical.
Perfect. Is it possible to attend 2 sport camps in one day when there is no break in between? For example, baseball camp ends at 1, football starts at 1.
Yes. So what we usually do is if there's like stretching and conditioning, when we know that a kid was at a camp before, we kind of give them like a 10-minute break.
You don't need to stretch
You don't need to
necessarily.
stretch.
Got
We've had
I
that
understand.
before, and a lot of times the kid might bring his lunch or bring a snack. And I know we've done that with basketball and baseball and before, where it's like, hey, Bobby, you go sit over to the side. You can eat your snack and get a drink. And when we start playing catch, you can start going out there. So
Yeah.
coaches are very understanding. If somebody comes out 10 minutes late or something like that, we all understand the kids are all over the place in a good way on our campus. So very understanding with all the different camps.
Is there a wrestling team or club?
No, there's not. And there's not a club either. So that has been a question that's been asked for many years too.
Sure. That is all I have right now so
Okay.
far. I'm sure more will pop up.
Super. As we kind of just wait to see if a couple trickle in, I first off want to thank each of you for being here tonight. We're almost at 8:00 on a Wednesday, so I appreciate you all being here after a long day. In terms of any questions that anybody might have in regards to, say, a physical or filling out any of those dental forms or the eye exam forms, Nurse Schaefer, I know you would be the person to contact there. If it's anything regarding tryouts, Coach Lawler,
Yeah.
Ms. Whalen.
One thing I'd like to, just a tip for freshman families out there though, a lot of kids are playing travel club or maybe they haven't at all. And when they come in, I would say making a team, being part of a team is such a great thing. Don't get worried if your son or daughter is on the A team, the B team. They're going to be a part of something special. And the other thing is sometimes the kid that's on the B team as a freshman becomes a star for us on the varsity. So sometimes kids grow, sometimes they just catch fire with interest with the sport. So a lot of times it's just like, let it just kind of happen sometimes. And a lot of kids come in trying to play 2 or 3 sports as a freshman. And we try to, as our best, to try to have those kids try to keep playing 2 or 3 sports. But sometimes when they get older, they pick and choose. A lot of times it's not forced by the coach, but sometimes the parent, not the parent, but the kid, not the parent. Some of those things kind of happen naturally. So those are a lot of things that people ask me about trying to play 2 or 3 sports. Or what if my son's on the B team or if she's on the B team? Just never know.
Sure.
Know. Good things happen.
In terms of those summer camps, I will also say, since Mrs. Pasiniak, myself, and many of us are here throughout the summer, seeing kids involved in those camps, is a way that I know not only for our incoming freshmen, but also younger siblings, for them to also become passionate about their sport or what they're involved in. I know my son who's in 4th grade is going to be doing a couple this year, and he's excited. But then seeing those same students go from camp to college prep tech, and they're talking about all the exciting things that they're doing at their camp or vice versa. This campus is alive in the summer.
Yes.
With students, particularly our freshmen that are excited to be here. And we see many of them coming in directly from a soccer camp or a baseball camp or what have you. The only thing that from the curricular aspect side is make sure that you're providing at least a few minutes of time. Our college prep tech classes do start at the starting time that's given. So that's kind of one of those things where we don't do stretching. There's no stretching prior to class starting, but we try to be respectful of the start times and end times so that we know you as a parent are obviously busy, feeling sometimes like a glorified Uber with where you're bringing your son or daughter. So in order for us to obviously respectfully end on time so they can get to a sports camp, we also need to start on time. So just make sure that you check those dates for those summer camps when you are picking a college prep tech sign up time for your son or daughter.
Okay, 2 more quick ones at the end.
Okay, great.
Can we submit the digital form completed by the doctor's office?
For me, if it is in a PDF format, they can email it. If it is printable and readable.
Okay.
If it's not printable or readable,
It's no
I'll-
good.
It's no good.
What if I signed my son up for baseball camp and realized we have a trip planned?
You'll be refunded. So no problem.
Oh, that was easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
And that's,
Great.
that's true for most camps.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Absolutely.
if it can be
Yeah.
refunded, yeah.
Great.
Fantastic. Well, we cannot thank you all enough. Oh, well, I got one more. Are students still able to play travel leagues while playing school sports? For example, travel baseball.
Great question. Not during the, okay, so let's use baseball, for example. A kid will practice with his travel team, maybe throughout the fall, the winter, but as soon as like March 1st, that's usually when like baseball starts, they are not with their travel team anymore. And then as soon as spring season is done, they can go back with their travel program in the summer. Most of our kids play club and travel sports and different sports. So I think our coaches do a nice job of working that, but they're not allowed to play a travel sport during their high school sport.
And that's not a
When
Benet
the-
rule.
No, that's not a Benet rule.
That's
That's an
an
IHSA.
That's an
rule.
IHSA rule.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's not unique to us.
No,
That would be
it's
any
not
high
yet.
school you'd be
Correct.
at. Okay.
That's
Great.
all she wrote.
Well, again, thank you everybody for being here. If you have any questions about anything regarding college prep tech, you can email myself. But any questions regarding athletics, now you have a face to go with the names for Mrs. Whalen and Mr. Lawler. And if you have any medical concerns, questions, quandaries, etc., Nurse Schaefer is going to be your point person there. So we appreciate you being here, and we can't wait to see your son or daughter on campus soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.